Bob Mintzer, living legend. Learning from legends, holiday style. Hey everybody, Chris G here, Positively Progressing. Thank you so much for tuning in and for your continued watching habits. So much appreciated. First off, happy holidays to whatever you're celebrating this holiday season. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to share with you a couple of phrases and lines that I broke down from Bob Mintzer's solo on Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Bob Mintzer, living legend. He's got decades and decades and decades of just absolutely fabulous playing, and he's contributed so much to the music that we love to listen to. So thank you, Mr. Mintzer. He's an outstanding tenor player, as most of you know, and multi-instrumentalist. You might know his playing from the Yellow Jackets, or his own big band, or the GRP All-Stars, or the list goes on and on and on as a leader and a sideman. So thank you. On top of all that, he's an unbelievable arranger and composer and educator. I think he's at USC right now, and we all can't say thank you enough. So this whole solo is great from Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I would definitely suggest checking it out. I'll leave a link below to the tune, but there were a couple things that stood out to me. One was the solo break that I will break down in a second here, and then the whole bridge that he plays, the first chorus bridge, is just phenomenal, and I really wanted to point out some key elements that makes that really pop for me, that makes my ears just like perk up and be like, wow, that was absolutely fantastic. So we'll start with the solo break. That was what you heard in the intro, but let's take another listen right now. So this is such a nice solo break. It's going to be really easy to break down. He plays a really, really nice melodic line, and we're going to actually jump to a new format, and I'm going to kind of show you on paper what this looks like. So here we go, something new. So we have a 2-5 to F, right? So we got the G minor, we got C7, and we got the 1 chord. And what he's doing is he's starting the line on beat 4, right? Here's beat 4. And he's doing a chromatic approach to the flat 7. This is the flat 7 of the 2 chord. And he's just going down the arpeggio. So you got the flat 7, you got 5, you got the flat 3, and you got the 1. Now he's going up a half step. Now you don't need to know this, but that's the flat 13 of C. But all you really need to know is that there's a half step going on right here. Half step. And that's what you want to hear. You want to be listening for that half step when you're learning this line, and then also when you're transposing this line. Then he jumps up to the 3rd. So this is the 3 here. This is the 2 or the 9. You'll know why I call it the 9 here. And then he goes to the flat 9. And then that chromatically is a nice resolution. So that flat 9 to the 5 of the 1 chord. And then a little 5-3 resolution. So it's great. He uses 2 really nice color tones, the flat 13 and the flat 9, to add some tension on the 5-7 chord on this C7 here. And that little bit of tension, it's not a lot, it's 2 notes, but just that little bit of tension, you can see how effective that is to set him up for a nice resolution on the 1 chord. And that's the line. Pretty sweet, right? Boom. All right, now let's take a listen to the bridge. I'm going to slow it down a little bit because there's a lot going on. It's 8 bars, so I just want you to hear it in real time and try to absorb as much as you can. As you can see, we have the whole bridge here. I'm going to break this down to a certain extent, but I'm not going to really go in depth. What I want to do is focus on pointing out how he uses chord tones and triads and these very fundamental vehicles to create a very, very hip solo, super tasty stuff in here. And so I want to focus more on that than actually like breaking down like what he's doing, because I think you guys will see that it's nothing overly complex. It's really great time feel, great note placement and choice, and really, uses different rhythmic kind of vehicles to make this solo sound super hip. That's why I wanted to share it. So right off the bat, look at this C minor chord, right? He's playing, this is C minor 7, but look at, he's starting with a C minor triad right there, just landing on the root of the F. Okay, he's doing the same thing at the next bar. He anticipated half a beat, but he's just using the D minor triad right there, and then eventually resolving to the root of the G. Okay, so he's kind of got a similar thing going on here. Minor triad, resolve to the root. Minor triad, resolve to the root. Well, let's move on to the next 2-5, right? This is a 2-5 into B flat. And same thing, he's just using the arpeggio starting from the third. Okay, so we have, 3, and then he's using a triplet here. This is a classic rhythm right here. An eighth rest, eighth note to a triplet. That's a classic rhythm. Practice your diatonic sevenths this way. It's really effective. That's just a bonus little nugget there for you guys. All right, so you got the 3, you got the 5, you got the 7 and the 9, right? And then he's kind of using this B here. You can call that like an approach tone. It's the sharp 11 of F7, but you don't need to know that. It's really more of an approach note to the 5 here. And then he's just kind of he's using, 1, and this is the 9 or the 2, and then he's using that to just get up to the 7, the major 7 of the B flat. And same thing here, right here. That's just chord tones. All this stuff is chord tones. Chord tones. Now these are extended chord tones there. Start of the B flat major 7, that's just 7, 5, 3. And then he walks back up to the 5, landing on the 5 there. And then he just does a chromatic approach, kind of like the solo break we just saw. He does a chromatic approach right here to the 3 of the D minor. And as you can see, he's still using chord tones. He's using 3, he's using the 7, he's using the 5, he's using the 3 again. Sorry, that's a really bad 5. I'll get better at this, I promise. and then now going over to the G7, he's doing a little turnaround. I like to call these turnarounds, or a little ornamentation, whatever you like to call them, to highlight the 5, right? And he's just kind of dipping down and playing that sharp 11, which is a nice little tension note. It's a nice little tension. That's a terrible sharp 11. Sharp 11. Okay. And then he's just using that as like a little passing tone, and then jumps up right here. Boom. The 3 again. He's landing, everything. He's just landing on chord tones. And so we got the 3 of the E there. Same thing. He's jumping down. Here's the 5. Here's the 7. Right? That's a nice 7-3 resolution right there. That's 7-3 resolution. 7-3 resolution. Put it in green. Get a little holiday spirit going on. All right. So you got a 7-3 resolution, little flat 9. There's the 1. There's the flat 7 right here. Okay, and then he does a little approach note right here, this B. I think of that as an approach note, and look at where he's approaching to. He's approaching to another chord tone. 7, 5, 3. Right? And then he's doing something a little bit more hip. It's not modern. It's, to land on the 13. Lester Young and Charlie Parker did it, so it's been around for a long time, but it's a really hip sound. So he lands on the 13 here, goes up to the root, and then goes up to the root of the 5 there, and then anticipates this, the ending here, the C, right here. So there's that, kind of that root, which is the root here. But as you can see, he's hitting, chord tones every single time. He's hitting chord tone here. He's starting with like chord tones all the time. Chord tones on this bar, chord tone, chord tone. So as you can see, you don't need to be playing a bunch of notes or need to be doing, all this fancy stuff. If you know triads and your fundamentals, you can play really, really hip stuff. And you can watch me draw a Christmas tree all at the same time. All right, back to me in front of the camera. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions on the new format, if you liked it, please leave a comment below. If you have any feedback to give me on what I could do better with that new format, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below there as well. If you liked it, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up. It's always appreciated. I hope you all have a happy and safe holiday. And just remember, always positive, always progressing. Until next time, later.